Spithaler. Brandon, welcome to the show. Thank you very much for joining us, man. We appreciate this, and I'm looking forward to doing this. So, how are things going for you in the off season?
Staying busy. Uh, I appreciate you having me on. I'm looking forward to it.
We're glad to have you, Nathan. You got anything?
I'm just excited because he's the first local driver that I actually know to get the interview. So this is kind of a big achievement for me. I'm super excited to have him on the show.
We're excited to have you, man. It's awesome that we get to do this. I really like doing the local guys, so it gives them a little bit of a voice and a little more exposure than what they'll normally get anywhere else. So,
I'm trying to pull it up to
Brandon,
my friends.
tell us a little bit about yourself.
Um, as far as I started racing cars a long time ago, and here I am now, ready to. We got a pretty aggressive schedule slated for 2025 between uh, two different cars, and I'm excited to get the opportunity to drive like uh, Fair 32B, about 35 shows, and then also we're planning on pursuing the full All-Star Tour with my BSR 22 as well.
Awesome, that's great to hear. And so someone's asking me a question here, sending me through my messenger rather than okay. All right, well, to get started with my spiel and list of questions, we're going to play 20 questions here today. So, our first question is, how did you first get involved in racing, and what inspired you to choose dirt track sprint cars?
It all started. My parents. I grew up around a dirt track. I'm being told I'm breaking out pretty bad. Can anybody hear me properly?
Yeah,
It's a little patchy on my end, just a little bit.
yeah, it is. It is just a little patchy.
Okay.
That's better.
Well, is it great? So yeah, I guess the background of that is my parents were dirt track fans, and I was going to a race as a 2-year-old essentially, and watching the grandstands, and over time my you know got had four wheelers and dirt bikes and stuff growing up, and one day we decided to yeah, friend had a son that was racing go kart, and so I went out to Slippery Rock. They put me in a cart after races one day, and they couldn't get me off the race. So I about track to try to get me off, and I was hooked and sold the four wheeler and uh, started racing on dirt, and that never turned back. Actually, the following season, won my first race in a kart ever, and went on to I think we won 7 races that year. Uh, Lost the first rookie championship to Adam Keck. He won 8 races, and I won 7. Came down to the last one, so it was that was 2003. I think I ran cars until 06. And that's when the limited sprint class opened up, or the green flag sprint originally, and they changed the name. Uh, so did that for a couple years as well. And,
Just a note too. I love the having your race cars in the background. That's so awesome. And it is
yeah,
still a
I
little bit.
do this from the shop.
It is still a little bit choppy. You might have to move a little closer to your mic. I'm not sure,
Okay.
but
I think it's just that it's on my phone.
yeah, it might be blocking if you had it standing up on top of the microphone. It
Okay.
might be.
Is that better?
It's a little better, yeah.
All right.
We'll we'll make do with the best we can, though, and we appreciate it. We'll push through and believe it. Hey, my light decided to come back on, Nathan. I got a ghost in here or something. But anyways, moving on to my second question. If I can get it to scroll. There we go. Can you describe the feeling you get when you're on the track racing at high speeds?
I guess that yes, I mean, sprint car, it's this is the most bad thing I've ever driven, but that's pretty much after karts. I ran limited sprint, essentially a 305 for 3 seasons. Uh, we won Rookie of the Year, won a couple races the first year, won a couple races the second year, went to win the championship. Not that one was lucky enough to meet Tom at 2000 Chili Bowl, and I had actually a local photographer around Western PA. He secured Chili Bowl, and that was the only one time I got on the Chili Bowl. And it worked out. I left there with essentially contact. Helped me last. I think going on 15 years. It helped me tremendously my entire 14 career. The beer trailer without him, I couldn't do what I do now. And so it all started with him. I got his 410 rarely. Uh, he had been kind of thing and a couple of shows in 2009, and then in 2010, basically took the engine of his car. At the time, uh, my father owned, family 22, and then ran that for a season. I essentially bought off my father in uh, in 2011, um, and so from then it's just kind of we've never looked back.
That's awesome. But what made you decide to go all-star racing this year? Oh, he froze.
All Stars, I mean, with the resurgence of the series this year, it seemed like, and with our past success with the Fast Series, I mean, I did run the 2000. We ran the All Stars in 2017 and 2018, and ended up just shy of Rookie of the Year in 17, the first year, and ended up, I think, slated sixth in points, and then the second year, I think we were sixth or seventh in 18. Someone's gonna fact check me on that. I don't remember, but the so we did that, and then went kind of back off the road and ran more regional stuff, and kind of just tried to chase money because obviously we did win the Lernerville Track Championship locally. I think it was 13, and then we tried to try to travel a little bit more and get some more exposure on some different racetracks and try to get better. And as my career has progressed, we sort of hit our stride the last couple of years. We've showed a lot of speed in the last 2 years, picking up 8 wins each year in 2023 and 2024, and back-to-back fast championships. And so with that, we I kind of looked at it and thought, well, with the All Stars kind of coming back around and looking like they're going to put together what looks like a pretty good schedule, figured that would be another challenge and see if we can compete for an All Star Circuit of Champions championship and see. I mean, that's one of the many goals this year, and it'll be the primary goal for the 22 car. And with the like I mentioned with the Bears car, we're slated. We plan on running the Knoxville Nationals, which will be a career first for me. I've been to Knoxville, but I haven't got to run the Nationals, so I'm thankful for that opportunity. And we plan on running approximately, like I said, about 35 shows, and the schedule's posted on the Brandon Spithaler Racing Facebook page. Like I said, it's a pretty aggressive schedule for someone in my shoes. I Unfortunately, I still have a day job. I can't completely race just yet. Maybe one day, if there's any sponsors or car owners that feel like they would like to make that happen, just let me know. But
Absolutely.
but until then, we'll run as many races as I can and try to compete on regional and national levels. We're going to run pretty much every outlaw show that comes to town within about 4 or 5 hours of home, and the All Star schedule goes across 5 states. It's 30 shows: PA, Ohio, Indiana, New York, Michigan, and we're going to mix in some fast shows. We're going to mix in some World Outlaw shows and some high limit shows as well. And it should be a pretty busy summer for sure.
Will you be able to make it to High Limit over here in Fremont?
I believe so. That's a Tuesday. It's
I
penciled
believe
in.
so.
Should be there in the 32 car.
All right, that sounds cool. Man, oh man, all these sprint car series now, man, it's just so hard to follow them all. So we kind of keep tabs on a little bit of the regional and the High Limit and Outlaws, but man, there's getting to be more and more. You've got Power Eye, you've got High Limit Outlaws. I mean, this, that, and the other, and it's crazy. And I was actually,
do have a
I
question.
think I asked you this yesterday, but I was surprised you didn't go down to Volusia.
So originally, we would Tiger, Tyler, and Scooter. We had put, they did a great job putting. I mean, Scooter worked really hard to get cars ready, and unfortunately, we didn't have the engine quite done in time, and actually, I ended up with a scheduling conflict as well for the Thursday show. But
Hmm.
but the original plan was to run the 360 engine for what would be the past weekend, and we were unable to make that happen with we didn't get the motor in time, but we do plan on running the 360 nationals currently. So we should have the motor next week. So that and my opening night is currently penciled in as opening night at Port Royal, which is March 8th, and that'll be in the 32 car. Would be the first night out for me and this season, and then I think
Wow.
I got to look at this schedule, so it's coming up. I look at the schedule. The first night for my car will be I think a week or two ahead of the All Star starting point, so we can shake things down and make sure get all the bugs worked out before we start running for points.
Man, it's right around the corner. It'll be here before you know it. Man, oh man, I
Yeah,
can't believe how.
behind me there's one car that's pretty much ready for vinyl, and the other one we're waiting on an engine. And other than that, it's pretty close as well. So getting there, and like I mentioned, the Bears crew. I was over there last night putting a seat in a car, and Scooter, Tiger, and Tyler, they and some other guys at Bears Supply and Bears Truck Service, chip in and put a lot of effort in. Those cars are beautiful, and they have both engines, so they're actually a tick further along than myself here, which is good because we're going to start racing about almost 3 weeks earlier in their stuff. So it's just around the corner.
You've always had some nice looking cars. I've liked them here in the past, especially recently. So, hey, good job to your graphics supplier and your vinyl
Well, I got
supplier,
to
man.
thank
They
Scoville Designs for the 22 and Ed Miller on the 32B. So we should have a reveal on the 32s. It looks like it's going to be changed up a little bit, so we're excited for that. And the 22 is going to be slightly different. It's still obviously going to be teal. It's almost a trademark at this point. So we'll stick to teal and black and change it up a little bit.
That car always stands out, and I love it because it's Brandon when he shows up the track, and it's so cool.
Yeah, there's not that many teal cars out there, so it's almost it's hard to change at this point.
I always look for that teal 22 car. It's always my favorite. It's definitely gonna be a change for me seeing you in the 32 car, but I'm definitely excited about it. Um, do you have a favorite track that is on your schedule this season? Like, is there one you're looking forward to the most?
As far as something I've been to before or something I've never been to.
In general, do you have a favorite track that you're really looking forward to?
either
I
either
mean,
or.
to be honest, I've always been fond of like what I consider. Once I started running 410s, I kind of took a liking to Mercer, and we've always been fast there.
Okay.
I'm looking forward to that. I really like Wayne County as well. I think both tracks race really well. They're exciting, but as far as a place I've never been to that I'm looking forward to going to, I'm looking forward to going to Bloomington. It's on the All Star schedule. That's going to be a tight bull ring that should fit my driving style, and I'm looking forward to the only other, well, one of the only other places I've got to race in Indiana with a wing was Paragon, and we did pick up a win there in 2023 and had a strong outing in 24. So that's going to be the Saturday of that 2 day weekend coming up. So I think that's in, I don't know if it's June or July to the All Star schedule, but yeah, it's Bloomington and Paragon for that All Star weekend.
So speaking of your car, since we have been, what role does the car setup play in your performance on race day, and how do you make adjustments during the event?
Obviously, it's crucial, and I pride myself on pretty much making my setup calls. Um, with that being said, it's taken years to get as good as we've gotten, and I'm not Carl Kinzer by any means. There's a lot.
No.
I basically explain it as there's places that I've figured out how to make a car fast, and we're fast at those places, and then there's places where I could probably be a better driver if I had someone turning the wrenches that knew exactly what needed to be done at that moment in time. So that's kind of one of the reasons I'm looking forward to. I look forward to working together with Scooter on the 32B and trying to get some more half mile experience. That's why we're kind of starting at Port. We're going to be at Eldora a fair amount. We're going to be at Knoxville, and kind of 3/8 and smaller. I I tend to think that I'm fairly confident that we can, compete with most anybody on a given night. I mean, obviously, you're going to have bad nights and you're going to have good nights, and that's just
Oh,
racing. And you got to
absolutely.
have a short memory and go qualify the next show. But yeah, smaller stuff has always kind of fit my driving style, and I've gotten a lot better on big stuff over the years. But that's what I think I still need to get really good on and get a win on a big racetrack.
And I'd have to agree. Watching you over the years, you do thrive on the little bit smaller stuff, and you'll get there on the big tracks, man. Just one of these days. It's always a learning curve for everybody. Um, all right, I'm just going through my questions. I don't want to ask every single one of these. Some of them are.
I'm trying
So
to think of questions to
speaking
ask.
speaking of that, can you walk us through the difference in a strategy for a short track versus a larger track?
I mean, as far as how you drive the
Just
track, I mean,
yeah, just
it's
how
truly
you would.
every track's going to be sort of different. I mean, and if it's all juiced up and there's a lot of moisture, you can pretty much throw a car around just as you could on a small track. But if it's big and slick or slick to a curb, I mean, it's wherever you can manufacture side light and forward traction and keep the car straight and don't drop your elbow, don't turn in too hard. Just just try to be smooth and consistent because it seems on a bigger racetrack, whatever mistake you make, you pay for long. I mean, you know
Yeah.
is true. I mean, it's not, oh, we're a couple hundred feet to the next corner, and you can almost try to overdrive the car and it be effective. If you try to overdrive a car on a big track, it's going to hurt you.
So how do you handle situations when the car is not performing as you expect during the race?
Um, well, if you're too loose, you put the wing back and do the best you can and try to keep it under you and and try to get is the car's gonna you can outperform the car a fair amount, but you're not gonna if you got a 10th place car and you get it to fifth, you did good as a driver. If you got a second place car, and you win, that's you're doing what you're supposed to do. And there's nights that the stars align and the car's perfect, and it makes the driver's job easy. So both can occur, and you can win races both ways. But um, I mean, as far as as far as strategy, I mean, chess. I would say if the track's slick, you need to you can overcome an ill handling race car more on maybe a more tacky racetrack with which is and as the track gets slicker, you need to you can only do so much. The car has to be good. Or at least in the ballpark to make it happen. But obviously, I think your question was whether you're, you know, depending on chassis setup or how if you've messed up. If you're too tight, in most cases, your best friend's going to try to drive. You're going to try to drive the car harder and 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 make up for it if the car's too tight, unless it's completely out to lunch, and then you're going to end up in the wall
Yeah,
or something similar.
I've never actually I've driven a sprint car, but I've never been in a race, so I couldn't tell you. But man, I can't imagine what it's like, man. It's got to be tough. I mean, I see you guys working and sawing the wheel, and then I see some guys that are just smooth at it when their car's handling really good. It seems like so. Man, I can't imagine what you guys go through inside of that cockpit. Man, oh man. So, oh, I lost my question here. What would be the best piece of advice you've ever received from another racer or mentor?
Um, hmm. You stumped. Uh, well, there's been. I mean, I mentioned Tom Berkey. He's kind of he's he's not a driver per se, but I mean, as a car owner, I mean, essentially, he's helped me for so long. He's almost like my grandpa at this point. Um, but I mean, we've just always trying to think of a single piece of advice. I know what we have. He has the Albert Einstein quote, the definition of insanity. If you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. That's taped on the trailer wall right above the toolbox. So that's if we're
Yeah.
struggling, and we're just trying to do the same thing, expect a different result. It's not going to happen. You got to think outside the box sometimes. But also, there's something to be said about if you've tried everything under the sun, sometimes you just got to go back to the basics, and it should work out. So I mean, I don't know if I avoided your question, but
No,
I
that's
know
fine.
when something that it's not wing related, but first time I ever went wingless racing, Rob Cheney pulled me aside and said, basically, you know, don't drive it in like you have a wing on the top of the thing. Lift the flags in and ease in deeper and deeper, and run the thing. And that was hot laps for the first night that I ever ran non wing, and we won that night. So
Hey,
that was good.
take take that advice, and sometimes it actually works, right? I was always taught that in go kart racing, that's all I've ever really had a chance to compete in, money wise. But I was always told if anyone asks what you're doing, just tell them the truth because they're always going to think you're lying to them anyways.
Yeah, that
So
and I mean honestly, you can walk through the pits and everybody drives different. I mean no one's probably going to tell you everything about their setup, but even still if they did, I mean, I know that I drive different than
yeah.
50% of the guys and vice versa. There's only a certain amount of people that are going to drive similar to, everybody's going to figure out a way to make their car fast to fit how they, hustle a race car.
So who was your racing idol, and how has that person influenced your approach to the sport?
Well, I run a number 22 because I was a Jack Hodenshield fan when he was in the Eldon 22, the Pennzoil car. So that was, and I mean, I don't know if the Wild Child's driving style is rubbed off on me some. Some people would argue, and say maybe that is the case, but um, I mean, I try to make sure that I don't leave anything, I try to run 100% and get what I can out of the race car. And if the car's not good enough, see if we can get a couple more spots and do that. Also, I mean, I own most of my own equipment, and so we try not to tear anything up. In 2023, we won, or not, yeah, in 2023, we won uh, 8 shows and didn't get a car upside down. Didn't actually, I had a wing that ended up, it was a Wing Dynamics wing that ran close to 80 shows.
I was going to ask about that.
Yeah, it looked like it was, had gone through a tornado and a hailstorm because of all the rock damage. But uh, yeah, it held up great, and we got a lot of, what would be a backwards compliment is like, that wing looks rough, and it's like, well, it's got 12 wins on it over the
Yeah.
course of 2 seasons, and we didn't, it hasn't been upside down, so it's paying the bills is what it's doing.
As, as long as it doesn't look crushed, then I think
Yeah.
it's doing pretty good.
Now, I did want to ask. I was never quite clear. When you rolled the car at Lernerville, was that actually the wing, or was that a different wing that got destroyed?
So that was actually a different wing. The wing that had all those knights on it, the center section actually wore out. If people that are familiar, the runners where the wing posts go, it actually wore through the aluminum to where the wing posts were
Wow.
going to go through, like, up through the center section. So
I
I
just couldn't
actually
remember.
retired it before it was damaged, and I have the sideboards. We're going to hang them up.
That's super cool.
Man, and there's not much there in the first place. I mean, I've powder coated a bunch of wings in the old powder coat shop I used to work at. Man, there's not much to them in the first place. So,
Yeah.
man, I can't imagine. So, do you have any? And Nathan likes to usually ask this question. So, do you have any pre-race routines or rituals or superstitions to help you get through your day?
Not really superstitions. I mean, um, I mean, there's not really superstitions. I mean, you go look at the racetrack, and I mean, I will admit I could probably be irritable at the racetrack, and
Oh yeah.
almost want left alone at times. Like when there's a whole bunch of people, it can be cumbersome. But you got your close knit crew. With me and my stuff, it's myself, Scott McClymans, Brad Gallagher. Sometimes Frankie can go, and Travis Shar when he can get. I mean, and last year, we won a championship, and there were some nights where I was thankful that we went to Waynesfield and had uh, Gary Elliott, one of my friends that works on Ryan Prosser's car, met me at Waynesfield, and his dad George. They helped out. Just a small group of guys that know what they're doing. As far as on the crew, and it's almost better that way when you get a bunch of hands, other than when if things go well, you don't need a lot of help. If things are, if you're thrashing to get cars back together, then all hands on deck, as many people as you can get, and get the thing back out for a B main or whatever, and make do.
Ryan Prosser actually won a engine from me one time from a raffle I had for a Chafin racing engine when I was a promoter of Martinville Speedway or Raceway.
Oh, okay.
Go-kart track. So that was cool that you mentioned him. I like Ryan. He's a pretty decent guy.
Yeah, I was got to drive the 19 car a handful of times.
So how do you?
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, go ahead. Now I was just say, how do you balance the demands of racing with your personal life, family, and work?
As best I can. I mean,
That's actually a new question
I-
I'm trying out on you tonight that I haven't ever asked anybody before.
Well, I sell pumps and air compressors. I work for Total Equipment, the Gold's local pump distributor and the local Ingersoll Rand distributor, and
Okay.
I handle a territory and have some key accounts that I'm in weekly, and so that's kind of a traveling gig, and get my work done and go race on the weekends. So and they're gracious enough to allow that happen, and couldn't be thankful enough for that. And you know, that's and as far as personal life, there's not too much outside of racing, really. I mean, that's 90% of my time. A lot of it's spent in the shop. Is luckily, you know, I mean, girlfriend likes racing, so that works
That-
out. Otherwise, I don't know if it would ever work out because I race that much. But looking forward to that moving forward, and I mean that's it for personal life. It's work, racing, and that's about it.
it's always a very huge plus when you have a significant other that's on your side of things. So I learned that one the hard way. But anyways, I'll leave my personal life out of this. But so, how do you stay competitive and keep improving as a racer, especially after years in the sport?
I mean, you're always trying to find. I mean, I don't know. You're just trying to find an edge. I mean, we put together a pretty good combination, like I said, the last couple years, and it just slowly, as as we've run better, we've gotten faster, we've run better. It turns into getting nicer, and nicer equipment, and being able to rotate through wear items like 10 years ago I couldn't, kind of thing. And we just keep building our team and building our team. And like I said, I mean, the 32, the opportunity to drive that car, that's great equipment. And the whole Barris team, put together top notch stuff. And I like to think that the stuff that I'm building behind us and my team is just as good. And I mean, we can compete when, I mean, we can compete when the Outlaws come to town, when High Limit comes to town. We can make those shows. I mean, last year we got a fourth place with the Outlaws at Attica. I mean, that's something that, I mean, it's not a win, but we've had won heat races with those guys, led laps with those guys. On any given night, I feel that it may not be night in and night out we can beat everybody, but on one given night we got an opportunity to get it done. So you just kind of have that mindset and try to go, give it your all on the racetrack, and put the time in the shop, and got a good group of guys working on the cars. And you got a great group of partners. And I mean, triple X chassis, FK shocks, Strange torsion bars, Newland bar service, afterburner performance. I mean, intense fabrication. I mean, there's a lot of, I know I'm missing some, Via headers. I mean, all the product sponsors, Kaiser wheels, all the people that I've been with for years, that I got a lot of brand loyalty to. They've helped me out and kind of built this stuff. And just picking up those relationships, and then rubbing elbows with people that have beat over time, and building friendships across different states and places. And pick up knowledge here and there. And don't be ashamed to try to learn something or try something, and get better over time. And I mean, Fisher Racing Engines, Charlie Fisher's helped a lot. Brad Malkett, his racing engines, we got an engine from each. And I mean, they're nice pieces. And just slowly build our team. And like I said, couldn't do it without sponsors. Superior Tank and Trailer, Ravens Trailer, Rustler Sales and Service coming on board this year. I got to thank Brian for that. George Hobaugh, with his retirement, is decided to help us out a little with Hobaugh Auto Parts and his Napa stores. 27 Manufacturing, one of my buddies, Zach Morrow, for all your manufacturing and machining needs. He's got a pretty recent startup machine shop in Butler. And Tony Burke Trucking, still on board, helping us out with some toter stuff. And then on the 32B side, I mean, I mentioned Barris a million times, but Barris Supply, Barris Truck Service, a whole bunch of sponsors on that side of things. Top Shelf Trucking, uh, 21st Century Energy Group, McFarland Lumber, and Atwell and Perrine Excavating. And hopefully I'm not missing any, but I mean, looking forward to a good season with both cars, and it's going to be busy. I'm looking forward to the challenge of bouncing back and forth. They were, you know, Tiger was nice enough to basically we kind of worked together to they allowed me to kind of steer the ship some working with Scooter as far as trying to have the similar combination, so we have the same chassis, the same manufacturer chassis, same manufacturer shocks, and so it's more similar going from car to car.
So one more before I close. What is the biggest lesson you have learned through your experiences on the track over the years?
Say that again. The biggest lesson?
Yeah, what's the biggest lesson you've learned through your experience on track over the years? Just in all of your time as a driver.
You can't win it on the first lap. Maybe that's a
I
pretty
wish
good
more people
one.
understood
That's a
that.
big one. I learned
Yeah.
that one myself the hard way. So, um, before I let everyone go, what advice would you give to someone looking to get started in sprint car racing?
Well, the sport's changed a lot in the last 15 years. I've been in it, but I mean, it's crazy I can say that, but the I mean, we my career of we started small with you know with that limited sprint deal, which was essentially a 305. I mean, just don't it may I mean, don't try to reinvent the wheel. Just put stuff together and and see how you do. I mean, it's as stupid as it sounds. Everybody's going to drive different, but your original baseline is almost going to be, you know, the run of the mill what anybody and their brother would tell you to start with, and get started, and you'll tweak from there, and because everyone's going to drive different, but the general ballpark is the same it's been for 20 or 30 years to on the very beginning, and then fine tune from there.
Actually, just if you have a second, I just had one come in from a fan. It's let me pull it up on my screen through my messenger. So let me pull it up on my screen so I can actually read it better. What do you think the future holds for dirt track racing, and what changes would you like to see in the sport? And I'll cut it off right there. So
Um, I think it's in a good place. I think it's good and bad that we're getting a lot more exposure and a lot more, a lot working towards more corporate sponsors and things on the national level. The it's good that that's bringing money into regional and touring series. I think that also may trend towards like the haves and the have-nots over time, but that's 10, 15 years away. I think right now it's in a strong place. Streaming's done a lot. But by all means, still bring a friend to your local dirt track. We don't want to see tracks closed down. Don't bash anybody on the internet. It doesn't do anything good. I mean, you're better off to go up to the owner and of any racetrack and say, "Hey, this is what I don't like," and he can hate your opinion and whatever, or shake hands and say thanks that I didn't think of it that way or whatever, and just voice your opinion without having thousands of people pissed off and ready to not go back.
that's spoken like a true champion right there. I really do agree with that 100%.
I mean,
So,
anybody ask any series director or track owner. I've had my fair share of heated moments with some people, and I'd never run to
oh
social
yeah,
media to bash them, but I'll definitely give them a piece of my mind in person, and they can like me after or not like me after, but that's better than in the grand scheme of things. It's not influencing
yeah,
thousands of people to you know
to
not even
hate
know the whole
them.
situation and just start spouting off.
Yeah, that right there. I mean, you're always going to have those moments where
Oh yeah,
you're going to get in and have words with people, but to get online and just bash the crap out of them and try to be a keyboard warrior. It doesn't help anything. It'll actually make you lose a lot of respect for somebody, if you ask me. But Nathan, you have anything before we let Brandon go?
All I gotta say is go out and buy his merchandise. Support this guy. He's a class act, just like Sheen said. I think he's a great person to meet at the track. Yes, I've probably met him at times where he's been a little busy, and I'll take blame for that. But I love seeing Brandon at the local dirt tracks. He's probably one of the only few guys that you'll recognize because of his car. But when you meet him in person, he's such a nice guy for new fans, for returning fans across the board. He's such a great guy. So go out and buy his merchandise and go support him and the 32 team as well as the 22 car.
Yeah, just
Absolutely.
as far as merchandise goes, we will be selling some stuff for the track. It'll be difficult. Most of that, I think, is going to be out of the trailers. Maybe not as much behind the grandstands, except for special events. But reach out on the Brandon Spithaler Racing Facebook page. Just send me a message. Sometimes I get a little behind. We're a little short staffed, but we'll get you fixed up. And I got to thank. We're in the process. We're getting shirts made for both cars. So hopefully by the beginning of the season, if not by April, we should have some stuff. So fresh off the presses.
Awesome.
Well, Brandon, anybody you'd like to thank or any sponsors you'd like to plug that you haven't done so or you'd like to redo again?
I'm hoping I hit everybody. I think I did. Like I said, with the 22 stuff. I mean, whole crew couldn't do without them. I mean, Tom, Scott, Brad. I mean, Frankie, Brittany, Zach. Last year, we had a lot of friends that came and competitors that when they were nights that they weren't racing and I was trying to go somewhere. I got it, whether it be Cornwall, Mattis, Weaver, there's been nights that they've chipped in and helped, and that's always kind of cool. And then I mean, crew on the 32 side, Tiger as the owner, Scooter puts in a lot of work. Tyler as well, and sponsors. I think I named them all. I don't think there's anybody I missed, but I mean, I could plug them again. On the 22 side, it's Superior Tank and Trailer, Ravens Trailer, um, Rustler Sales and Service, Hoba Auto Parts, 27 Manufacturing, Tony Burke Trucking, and a whole bunch of products people with great things that we use on the race car all the time. And then on the 32 side, like I said, Barris Truck Service, Barris Supply, um, Top Shelf Trucking, 21st Century Energy Group, Atwell and Perrine Excavating, and McFarland Lumber.
And without those guys, man, it's hard to make it happen. I know that for a fact.
And
We need to
I
get
guess
Brandon a
I
sticker.
mentioned I messaged Charlie Fisher and Brad Malkett on for my stuff, but Dawn Odd Engines in the 32B. So looking forward to trying those out. I don't know if I've driven for anybody that had an op motor, but we will give it a try here a couple weeks.
Yeah, you got to plug that power plant builder, man.
Yep.
We got to
So
get Brandon a sticker from Switching Grooves eventually, so we can get him on the car. Get
I got
us
to get
on the car
more.
for him.
I got to get more made. But anyway, Brandon, we're gonna let you go. I thank you for your time, man. It's been great having you on the show. I love getting to know our local drivers and giving them some exposure. So thanks
Best of
again for
luck this
joining
week.
us.
Yeah, no problem.
And
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
and we wish you the best of luck in the All-Star Circuit of Champions. I'm actually glad to see that return and see a lot of guys like you joining the series.
Yeah, thanks. We'll be hitting the track soon. Looking forward to it.
All right. Have a good night, Brandon, and thank you very much again.
Thanks.
So that was Brandon Spithaler, and we thank him for taking the time out to do an interview with us tonight. And with that, we are going to close our show down. So, Nathan, you got anything before we shut her down here?
That was probably one of my favorite episodes to do, only because it was local driver, but it opens the eyes to, the local. You don't usually get to have a driver that to get to do an interview with. So it was kind of nice to, know some of the stuff that he was talking about, but also learn something new. So it was definitely kind of fun.
it was awesome, man. I liked hearing him talk about his past experiences and stuff and where he's been. So, man, oh man, I hope we get a few more of those local guys in
I'd love to get more
before
in here.
the local season starts here in April, May. So,
Oh yeah.
definitely looking forward to the dirt track season getting going, though, man. NASCAR's going, so now we got to get the dirt going.
Yep.
So, but I'm going to call it good there for tonight, Nathan. So, what do you think?
I think it's time to get some sleep for me. I'm getting really tired. So with
All right.
Switching Grooves, I'm Nathan Johns.
And I'm Russ Fritz saying race hard.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you there. Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.